gradient from your feet to your head top. Energetically, feel as if the bottom is completely rooted and the top is completely free. So that you can, if you want to assign color, imagine that the feet, the bottom is black and the top is white. And so with that feeling, just moving around a little bit. So feel all four corners of the square that you're standing on. You can think of a bamboo or a piece of grass, palm tree. So they have a root and swaying on your own, just moving around the center. You can make a circle, you can make a Tai Chi shape, you can make any shape that you like. And then after moving around the center a little bit, come back to the center. And then pull the head top up to its highest point and turning from the top. So starting from the crown, turn your eyes. Keep the chin tucked, turn the top of the neck itself, the top of the shoulders, the mid-back, the lower back. Keep the hips locked in place. If you do turn the hips, feel your knees, be sensitive. Grip your feet into the ground just a little bit, breathing, and then turn to the other direction. So pushing your head top up the whole time. Remember the gradient that we just imagined. So grip your feet. Let the upper part completely relax. And starting from the top, the crown, your head, the neck, upper and lower neck, shoulders, upper back, mid-back, low back, hips, and don't turn your knees. Come back to the center. We're going to do a few more of these. So while we do this, keep the hands. There's a shape that's formed right between the thumbs. We want to keep that in front of the base of the sternum there, the xiphoid process. And while the hands are there when we're turning, we don't want to sort of push the hands off center to exaggerate the pose. Instead, keeping that there, turning everything in line. Protect your knees. You can time it with the breathing, but you don't have to. This is a stretch, a full body stretch. So grip your feet. And you can start from the top or you can start from the base. If you like to stretch a little bit further, we can think of the feet being parallel in this direction. You can turn the outside heel to turn just a little bit further when you do this. Do not turn the inside knee. So on your own, turning to one side or the other, relax your shoulders, push up through your head top. And then looking through the turn, looking all the way past the direction that you're turning with your eyes, and then even beyond there, your mind is traveling past where your eyes can see. Each time coming back to the center. You can recheck your feet, recalibrate your feet, and then turning. Remember to breathe. Let everything relax coming back to the center. You can use your breathing if you fully inflate when you turn to increase the stretch. Come back to the center, take a deep breath, relax. So we're going to do a little bit of breathing, and we're going to do the Chansi exercise to do that breathing, and then we're going to do the form. We're going to do the first and second section of the form, and then we're going to come back and we're going to look at Tai Chi principles, Tai Chi ideas. So, doesn't matter which hand you're using. If you take a tall horse stance, so it's not parallel, wider than shoulder width, and we're going to turn around the center. If we start like we're holding the ball this way, and then just turning your waist, turning left side, right side. If you line up these, the index, the middle fingers, and then turning, so it goes just over the hip joint, and then this way as well. Keep your back straight, pushing out through the neck, just like this, just turning here. You see my hands don't move from the center. And then we're going to change them, put one hand up and one hand down, and just turning this way. Relax your shoulders. And then switch, put the other hand on top, relax the shoulders, and turning. And then changing one, change to the other side. Switch, change. I'm facing about the 45, my center, my dantian, in the space between my hands, as if they're connected in one piece. And then make that continuous. We're still just keeping them on the center line, just shifting up and down, turning left and right. Relax your shoulders. So it's almost as if there's two parts. We have one hand in front of the shoulder here, and the other hand in front of the center here, and then turning the other side. It's the same thing. Just the same, there's a small space in the center here. So we're keeping that as if this is all one piece. And so just shifting back and forth between the two postures. And then you can start to connect the dots. So whether you round the hand out by pressing out to the side, whether you just make that circle slightly larger, whether you constrain them onto pivot point on the elbow, shifting from one side to the other. Use your center, relax your tailbone. So one of the things, when I'm turning like this, when I'm turning my center, I say straighten the neck, and what's implied is that the tailbone is sinking. So we can't, if I want to, let's say I have this shirt, right, the jacket that I'm wearing, and I like to stretch it, I can't just pull up from the top. I also have to put a weight at the bottom as well. So the same thing, while we're practicing this exercise, relax your tailbone and push your head top up. It's a weird sensation, and one of the ways that I use to describe it is when you use a wall to practice. When you have a wall available, you can put the back part of your head. It's the point that's directly opposite the third eye point. There's an acupressure point in the back, and as if you're keeping your chin tucked, and you want to try to press that point against the wall, and then letting the tailbone relax while keeping that pinned against the wall. You can use, if you don't have a wall ready, you can use that same feeling. It's a funny concept. Pin the tail on the donkey. I would like to find out what the origins of this idea is. But the idea is we're tacking something, nailing something in place. The head top, the back of the crown is sitting up there. And then from there, suspending from that, the tailbone sinking like an anchor. So we have two different directions, up and down. And then we're turning around that line that's been pulled tight. So relax your arms, relax your shoulders. When I say relax, they're in the correct position. You can use power internally if you like. You can make the movement soft and slow. Imagine rotating each joint around itself. So each joint has a 360-degree possibility. You can involve the fingertips, the thumb, the hands as you turn the forearms, turning the elbows. So you can apply power through the joints while maintaining the relaxation. Shifting from one side to the other. You can time the breathing. You can make it natural. If you haven't already, change directions as if you're turning the other direction. So if we were going out from the inside, going inside out or outside in. Activate your feet, check where your tailbone is located, relax. Turn your spine around the center. This is deep breathing. We're supposed to be doing the Qigong to warm up. Bring everything back to the center. Allow your feet to touch. Connect the tongue to the upper palate. And when breathing, we're lifting the base of the torso, the interior. So my teacher said you can use the Tai Chi form for anything. That's a powerful statement. Let's use the Tai Chi form to warm up. We're going to do the first and second section. So if you don't know the movements, that's okay. Just try to follow along. Remember, we have a square step, and we have that center line and this round shape for the arms the entire time. And if all that's too much to follow, just focus on your breathing. Pick a place to start. This form has in the beginning, the first section is traveling, but it resolves in the center. If you watch the videos, I start a little bit off to the east, but when we resolve in the center. So the first section is shaped a little bit like the proportion of your hand, like an L shape. There's a few steps, about 4 steps forward and about 16 to 20 steps to the side, depending on which form we're doing. With the shorter form indoors, it's different size. So start just a little bit off to the center, off right. So bring the head top up, relax your shoulders, relax your tailbone, activate your feet, breathing deep. We're starting in He Tai Chi harmony. Move your mind into the Dantian. Activate your feet, stepping shoulder width wide. Sink your tailbone, breathing deep. This is Tai Chi, Chi Chi, the start of Tai Chi. And then inhaling. This is grasp the sparrow's tail on the right side. Stepping forward square, ward off, left. And then changing. Left, grasp the sparrow's tail. Square step forward, right, ward off. Breathing deep, this is roll back. Pressing forward north is breathing again, this is push. Look left. Glance right. Double press, Schwang An. Horizontal split hands from one corner to the other corner. My square is facing west. This is the Diao Shou, hook. Square step forward. Single whip. Turning my square to the north, my foot aligned accurately. This is T-Sol. Breathing deep, square step. Lift hands up. Posture, rolling up. I'm going to turn 90 degrees to the west. too much, protect your center line. Sowe Pipa. Loshi. Kacho. Square step back. Check the alignment. Arms around, breathing deep. This is a repeat of crane, opening the wings. Sowe Pipa. Like playing a harp. Brush knee, press to the center. Wai Song Bao here, holding the moon in the chest, sinking back into the rear heel. Brush. Grip the feet, center line. Step, punch at the same time. Yo, Ban Lan Shui, right. Parry. Waist turn for power with the right hand to punch. Continue the waist turn. Still facing west. Turn the circle. Recoil once. Recoil twice. Turn the square. Facing north. This is return tiger to mountain. Breathing deep. Bring the right foot to the left foot. The left foot is either a T-step or you can hook step. Palm press to the center. We're facing south. Breathe deep to roll back. Turning back south, this is press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal split from one corner to the other corner. My square is facing east. Hook, the owl show. I'm going to turn back to look at the moon. So, turning the feet, take as many steps as you need to comfortably turn. Right hand covers, left hand spear fist through the center. Repulse the monkey. 1. Repulse the monkey. 2. Repulse the monkey. Number 3. Next is diagonal flying. Shoulder bump. Like a ward off to the corner. And then keep that expansion turning. The thumb leads back to the center line. This is Heidi Zhang. Needle at the bottom of the seat. Keep the back neck straight. Breathe deep. Square step forward. Sen Tombe. Turning. 180. Block. Punch. Kick. All at the same time. Square step. Lan is parry. Square step. Shui is punch. Keep your head top up. Relax your tailbone. Di Bu Hua. All in the knees. Breathing deep. Shang Bu Li means change step. Roll back. Press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal split hands. Hung Li So. The owls. Hook. This is side whip. My left side going due west. Whip directly to the And then the waist turn goes into this is cloud hands in the second section. Press right. Uncoiling, stepping, pressing left. That's one. Coil, sink and press right. Uncoil, step, press left. Breathing deep. This is cloud hands, 3 of 3. Hook. Corner whip. I'm facing west. This is Gautama. Reach over the tall horse. And Gautama number 2, which faces south. Hop to east. Scoop. Brush. Press. This is brush knee C-step press, low sheep. Ao. Kanchon. This is brush knee straight step punch, low sheep. Jinbu, side string. Turning, block. Punch. Kick. Square step. Line. Shui. Punch. Zohua. And bar. Dali is big roll back. Keep your back and neck straight. Use your legs. Turn the waist. Bahu. Embrace tiger. Dali. Big roll back. Bahu. Left foot stepping behind the right. This is scoop the moon from the ocean. Kick. Brush. Twin fists going to the ears. Stepping back on the right side. Standing on the right side, pull left. Kick left. Turning, step naturally. 1, just like walking. 2, 3. Standing on the left, pull right. Kick right. Turning back, due west, block, punch, kick. Lan is parry, shui, punch. Press, press. Turning 90 degrees to the north. This is return tiger to mountain. Block. Punch right. Punch left. Bring the feet together. Bring the hands together in the center. He Tai Chi. How many here feel, after doing some Tai Chi, you feel energy, you feel like you have warmer, right? There's some kind of energy moving. Great. So we're going to continue to review stuff from early in the first section for the benefit of people tuning in. But I also want to talk about something for everybody, but it's maybe more experienced practitioners will benefit from it, which is the idea of flow. And this is a Tai Chi principle that it's dynamic. It's not something we can't really practice from standing posture, because the idea of it is like a river, One of the martial art predecessors to Tai Chi was called Chang Chuan, which means long fist. And sometimes Tai Chi previously called Chang Chuan, which means long fist, but isn't determined by the postures, right? There are some forms that have very long postures. That's not what it's about. It's about the idea that it's continuously flowing like a river. So sometimes Tai Chi referred to as like a long river. And we want to get the feeling, get the idea of this sort of flow. And we can use the analogy of a river, thinking about when it goes too fast or too slow. Because everyone's human, we all have different qualities, different levels of timing. Right? When you hear musicians have a lot of times have a great sense of timing, and so sometimes when something's a little bit too fast, we may have to slow something down later to accommodate for it, or if it's too slow, we may have to speed to catch up. So let's work on the sort of 8 basic postures. But we're going to talk about the idea of dams and waterfalls. So this concept in a river, if there's a dam, it means the movement stopped, right? The water has stopped, it's pooled in an area. And when it's flowing, it should be flowing at a certain speed. And then the other concept is a waterfall, where the water is flowing, or spillway, where the water actually increases its momentum, it's going faster. So I'm going to be changing different directions, so you can face the screen. If I'm starting from Tai Chi Harmony and I'm open, shoulder width wide, and I'm standing, we can start in Tai Chi Chi, the starting stance, and go right to ward off and roll back. I'm facing east, press. So now think of the timing like a metronome. It's one continuous speed. Press. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Turning 90 degrees to the north. Split. Hook. Side whip. Bring your right hand under the left hand. We're going to step forward into a square to ward off. Breathing deep. This is roll back. Turn your palms. Press. Keeping the timing, push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal split hands. I'm turning 90 degrees facing west. I have hook. Single whip. I'm going to bring my right hand under my left like I'm holding the ball in front of me. Square step forward, ward off. Breathing deep. Roll back. Join the palms. Press. Push. Look left. Glance right. One continuous momentum, double push. So there's no breaks in the movement. Horizontal split hands. We're just repeating the same movements. Hook. I'm facing south. Whip, and then change, grasp the sparrow's tail to ward off. Breathe, roll back. Press. Push. Left, glance right. Double press. Horizontal split. I'm facing east. We'll go one more time. Hook. This is whip, corner whip, side whip, doesn't really matter. We're going to change to grasp the sparrow's tail and ward off. Breathing deep to roll back. Turning the center for press. Using the extremes to push. Just turning the top, look left. Glance right. Double press. Split. Hook. Side whip. And then you can bring one foot back to the other, bring the hands together in the center. Take a deep breath. Now, with the same idea, let's look at something from the second section. I know that Mark has seen this because I've taught this at the YMCA, and maybe people from Westwood may have seen it. We're going to do something from the second section. If we do needle at the bottom of the C, and we turn, block, punch, kick, lan, shui, di boudoir. There's a section there that is more complex, but also has the same rhythm. So if I'm facing west, I'll actually face north so that you can follow from a different perspective. If I do have diagonal flying and I turn my hand for needle at the bottom of the C, San Tombe, turning, block, punch, kick, lan, shui, di boudoir, change step, roll back, right? So this has we have a 180 degree turn. So if I'm facing west, like a ward off, needle at the bottom of the C is first turning up and over. My hand turns down this way, all the way. I'm looking forward, changing. And then when I step square, San Tombe is here. When I turn 180, I can use both hands to create a wheel, like I'm moving something, or I can turn one hand and have the other hand ready, right? So if I'm needle at the bottom of the C and I'm here, I can turn both, or this one can come back to prepare for the next one. So, or it can go into that way. So, turning, block, punch, kick, lan, shui, change step, roll back. Let's do this one more time. I'll face I'm facing southwest. So the shoulder bump from diagonal flying, needle at the bottom of the C, square step forward, San Tombe, turning, block, punch, kick, lan, shui, di boudoir, shangwu, change, press. By the way, that transition to what's called shangwu, which means change step, li, roll back, in the second section, for those of you that have the experience to know, in our rollback in this form, we illustrate the turning of the feet. You don't have to, not all Tai Chi forms do that. Very traditional Tai Chi form, after the ward off, the palms change, we turn the waist, and we come back to press this way. In this Tai Chi form, the meaning, the movement is considered to be very hidden, so we've been talking about movements from the first section. We did grasp the sparrow's tail, and we did a number of those, so we can continue to practice grasp the sparrow's tail left and right. We talked about ward off, the idea of using the full structure to inflate, and roll back. At least we've started to talk about it. We can continue to talk about it more. In this form, we're showing the feet turning, but in the boxing aspect of it, the principle that TC was teaching was target denial, which is where an opponent wants to bring their power to us. And so instead of covering, right, covering is a valid, blocking something is a very valid one. If we understand the power that's coming in, if we can sense it before making contact with it, we can actually open. So like welcoming the opponent into our space. There's other martial arts that talk about that. They say like greet the opponent at the door and all this. So our rollback is first opening and then closing. So each posture having a yin and yang state. The opponent coming into my space, if I just close off immediately, they may have some other idea in mind. But if I open, it may create a different type of reaction. And it gives me potential. So in the space, in the world of nature, this is we would see something like maybe an octopus, right? And so if they want to get away quickly, they can open all their tentacles, which allows them to get out of the space. So we open, we welcome the opponent if they want to come into the space. Then as they enter our space, we can use the hands to control in a various number of ways. So in the form that we're doing after the ward off, I'm from the open bringing my hands both down at first, and then I turn my palm. But again, we can look at a more traditional style where after the ward off, I can simply turn both of my palms and roll back this way, right? You can think of this like leading something, right? You have somebody's arm and you like to lead it in that direction. I like to teach this one in person because one hand is generally thought to be controlling the wrist joint and the upper hand thought to be controlling the elbow joint so that we can control the person from this turning. And then remember, the arms only so powerful, right? Even if you have some big muscles and get all pumped up, right? Only so much power here. The waist and the legs. So for the rollback, this is one of the reasons we show the feet moving. Like I said, in a traditional style, the feet are static, and then the palms change, and we roll back and turn, press, push. In this one, the concept is the opponent is going to be moving. They're warding off into my space, or they're using some other type of expansive attack. And so my feet, once I finish the second half of the rollback to control that incoming weight. So, but again, it's hidden. We have, after our rollback, we turn the palms, and I'm turning my feet here. And then I turn my feet 90 degrees again this way. So the power going out to the corner. And the whole time, my gait is still forward, right? So if I have my square step this way, if I'm facing my camera, my ward off is in this direction. When I roll back here, I may have an opponent going this way, but I'm turning my attention back to my camera. So I always have my arm round. Let's say, for instance, we use this thing, and the gate of power is this way. When I roll back here, this is always ready. This shoulder, right, this hip. So even though this is going here, I'm coming back in with the press from that corner. So that's our rollback. And again, you don't have to show the feet. It's a stylistic choice that has come through this particular Yang lineage. My teacher said if you don't show the feet, you should, in your mind, energetically be feeling the turning, the whole body spinning out from under the opponent, and landing. There's another exercise we do, which we can practice when we're in person, which is the centrifugal force one. If you hold on to a rope or you hold on to another person and you're spinning this way. This is one of the ways that we can use our whatever our power is against a much larger opponent is by understanding how the centrifugal force works. If there's a much larger opponent, we may have to turn sooner, we may have to turn later, depending on the dynamic, but we can control that much, much larger weight by by putting our pivot point, the axis of our weight, in the correct place at the right time. So this rollback also contains that dynamic. I know that some of you, I know people that have studied in Westwood Park have done that. It's kids do it on the playground. They hold hands and turn it, right? Whatever. Let's stay focused. Before we continue, does anyone have questions, thoughts, comments, ideas on what we have just talked about? Okay, if you do, feel free to blurt them out. So let's look at the first part of the first section, these first 8 movements, with the concept of moving too quickly and too slowly. And this, by the way, comes down to an expression of one of two things: either too much meditation, where there's not enough movement, not enough expression of yin and yang, or there's too much activity, right? There's too much yang, too much expression of power. So what I mean is, when we ward off, if it's too slow, if it doesn't have any martial art power behind it, it's just a qigong. There's no. We need to have, at least internally, even if you practice like you want to practice your super lightweight feather. How light can I make my chi and my energy? There should still be some feeling of some pressure, even 1% pressure. Otherwise, it's a qigong. And the opposite of that is when we want to practice power, fa jing, right? The dynamic, the power going out. So we want to find something in between, and it should be visible. We should feel it on the inside. So the body is light with qigong, but inside there's a power. And even if you don't express it externally at all, it means there's more power cultivated inside, right? So we have a balance. So if you have that feeling of an explosion on the inside, expanding out, but you're only moving like this, then you're keeping a lot of power. You're sustaining that power. You're returning that power to the center, as opposed to expelling it off into the world and not getting it back. So this is one of the purposes of Tai Chi, is to cultivate power. But we're also cultivating. You don't have to show it. This is how you can practice in the park without attracting weirdos. Rollback is the same thing. You can be feeling on the inside. You don't even have to flex the muscles. You can keep everything relaxed. Expand the joints, as if the turning inside of the joints is where this internal rotational torque that extends through the whole structure. And then push. Look left. Glance right. That change, you may see when I go look left. That's too fast, right? And this is when we're working with chi. It's like reeling in a kite. You have to go. It has a pressure, right? When we practice the silk reeling, like there's a cable, and you want to wind the cable around your forearm. And if you pull too tight, it will snag. And if you don't pull enough, it's heavy. It won't move. So you have to find the right amount of torque. Whether you like to fishing, the fishing line is the same. When you cast out, and there's a boot at the end of the thing, but it's got one of your favorite lures, so you got to get it back in. If you reel too tight, it will snap the line. And if you reel too slowly, it's stuck, it won't go. So you have to find just the right amount. And that's the flow, the speed that we're talking about. So even myself, because I have this idea of doing martial art. So the correct timing is a flow. And what is that speed? There's nobody agrees on this. By the way, this is one of the overall things with Tai Chi. Before the invention of video cameras and all of the ways we have to record things, previously, the only thing that was agreed upon were the postures, not the timing that happens between them. Because the timing between them, if we do hook and whip, let's explore. If we do hook and single whip, like a ward off, right? So the whole body is expanding this way. Hook, whip, hook, And so now let's look at something different. Let's use whip, literally like a whipping action, right? Where we do hook, whip, hook, whip. The end posture is the same. If we use the correct Tai Chi principles, right, we should see a square step or a geometric step of some sort. We should see a straight spine, whether it's Yang style and it's straight this way, or it's Wu style and it's straight this way. And the arm has some chancy, right, whether we use all 5 fingers or whether we have when in doubt, pinky out, whatever the principles are, we should end up in the same thing. But you see the power dynamic between one is a whip and the other one is like a ward off. So even with primitive cameras or drawing on the side of an object, the end shape is just going to be this way. And so we'll talk about substituting powers later. For now, think about connecting with your breathing, with the flow, and getting a moving sort of a speed, a rhythm. And there is no. So going back to the question I asked earlier, does anyone know what's the speed? What speed we should be practicing at? Because there isn't. It's the only correct answer is consistent speed. So if you're doing the form and you like to do Fajing, you have a lot of extra energy, right? Sometimes after cultivating a lot of energy, we have energy and we want to practice with some kind of power. You can practice that way, but you should have that sort of thing. And if you watch like high-level competitors, performers, when they want to demonstrate, they have different sections. At one point, it's nice and slow, and they're showing the Tai Chi all soft and gentle. And then the music will change, and they'll go into a more dynamic something, right, where they're more explosive. And then to come back to close the form, right, they'll do something soft. So this is understanding. This will help free your mind from worrying about, is it too slow? Is it too fast? Should I be counting 2 seconds on my inhales and 1 second on my exhale? Don't worry about any of that. Try to find the flow. Before we continue, questions, thoughts, comments? I think we have time. We're going to do the first section with sort of the same speed that we were going before, a little bit slower to practice. We'll use that as a sort of cool down, and we will do a little bit of Qigong at the end of class, but we're going to use Tai Chi postures. So pick a space that's your center, allow your feet to touch, bring the head top to its highest point. We might as well calibrate correctly. So starting from the top, bring the crown all the way to its highest point. Relax the brow, relax the vision. Open the nostrils. Make sure that the corners of the mouth are activated. My teacher would call it a half smile, but you don't even have to think of it as a smile. You can think of just activating those points. The tongue is connected to the upper palate, and the jaw is relaxed. Push your ears back just a bit to straighten your neck more. Relax your shoulders. They're sitting in the correct place. So for me, it's a matter of rolling them back and allowing them to sit with gravity. The chest is hollow. There's a space in the armpit. The elbows and wrists are empty. We're using the center to support, so the abs and the dantian filling up the space under the ribs. The back, the lower back is sunk and hanging, relaxed, and then also open, expanded this way. So the breathing, the lungs can actually push the diaphragm back down onto the kidneys. This kind of using the center to close and opening the back to push the kidneys down, the diaphragm down onto the kidneys is another form of Qigong. The inside of the hips are folding. The knees are bent. They're not straight. There's just a light partial bend. Activate your ankles. Pull your heels in. Pull your toes. Pronounce the arch in the foot. Make the whole structure of the foot like a triangle inside of your shoe. And then move wherever you think your mind is into your dantian, into the center. Feel how your body changes naturally. And then from there, taking a deep breath, gripping the right side, stepping shoulder width wide. I'll step sideways, sink the tailbone, energy expanding. cheat sheet. Breathing deep, facing due north. This is grasp the sparrow's tail on the right, stepping forward, ward off. On the other side, grasp the sparrow's tail, stepping forward, ward off. I'm exaggerating the shape so that you can see. Turn 90 degrees to the west. Join the palms facing north. Press. Breathing. This is push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal. Split. Turning 90 degrees. Oh, yes. The owl show is hooked. Square step forward, back in, single whip. Breathing, turning to the north. This is T Soto Samshi. Lift hands. I'll turn a little bit so you can see. It's split, square step, roll up underneath. And then when you pull down, also rolling the forearms. Bringing the foot, we're going to turn facing west. This is crane, opening the wings. Soe, Pipa, Loshi, press to the center. We're going to repeat that again. So square back, step back, Tuebu. Bai Ku, Si is white crane, opening the wings. Soe, Pipa, brush knee, press to the center. Shifting to the rear foot, sliding the left hand up the right. Step forward, the thumb goes right up the center line for a circular punch as we step, holding the moon in the chest. Bana Shui on the right. Focus power right to the center. And then turning around the center, breathe deep. Press, press. Return tiger to mount. Blocking. Right, left. And then use that momentum to return back to the center. So one other note, what I actually started doing it in that form is taking a break during a posture. This is opposite of what I'm trying to teach today about flow. These breaks, where teachers putting a break, is so that you can have, sort of like if you're making an invisible drawing that you want someone else to see, so they have connect the dots. Each of these postures is sort of a dot in the big picture, because there's a whole set of movements that happen between point A and point B and point C, and so on and so forth. So technically, there shouldn't ever be any breaks. There shouldn't be any dots. Now let's try the same exercise. We're going to close with, if nobody has questions or ideas, it's about time. It's actually looks like we have just another minute left. We're going to do the same exercise that we started with. So allow your feet to touch, relax your shoulders. So calibrate. And then what I want you to remember on this one is we are trying to stretch, we're trying to turn, but I want you to protect your knees, right? The knees are a hinge. They only work in one direction. And I'm thinking about making another video on how to protect your knees. If you haven't seen it, go dig back through the YouTube videos. There's one that's on there for knee safety. But while we're doing this one, be sure to protect your lower body. To be sure, you can lock your hips, lock your waist in place this way. So it's just turning at the spine and the soft tissue between the pelvis and the ribs. But if you feel like you know more about it, you can turn a little bit more. Be sure to keep your root. Starting from here, we're breathing. So push up through the head top, and then it may be weird, but try to relax, almost like you're sitting just on the edge. And then turning on your own. Keep your hands positionally locked to the torso. Turn your neck, your head, your eyes, and then coming back to the center. You can go at your own pace, breathing deep. Focus on the breathing, pushing up through the head top. So relax your tailbone. Keep working, keep breathing. It's 9:30 if you're on a tight schedule this time, but otherwise. So imagine that this exercise, you can treat your body like a sponge or a towel, and you like to wring it out. So try to let everything relax as much as you can. And don't do anything that's painful. Pain is one of the body's ways of saying stop. Soreness is okay. Finding the limit, finding the threshold for pain is okay. Do not proceed if you experience pain. I've got one more on this other side to balance it out. Take as much time as you need. And then when you come back to the center, close the eyes, at least part way, and move your mind into your dantian. Take a second to breathe into your dantian and imagine all the movement, all the ideas, as if it's like a magnet or a whirlpool collecting at the center, all the energy. And then internally, take a second to smile to yourself. And then smiling to yourself, take a second to have gratitude, at the very least for yourself, for getting up to do Tai Chi in the morning. Take one long, last, deep breath. And that's it. It's past time, so if you gotta go, it's time. If you have questions, you can feel free to call or write an email.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Sure, thanks. Have a great day.
You too.